Hello again, I'm Matthew from thewetpen.com, and over the past few months I've been working on some new inks, and today I have 4 new ones to show you, and they've just gone up for sale on my website along with most of my other inks. I've already made a few inks that are named after places around the Puget Sound, but from here, the Pacific coast is across the Sound and on the other side of the Olympic mountain range and coastal rainforests of the Olympic Peninsula. The Washington coast does have some nice sandy beaches, but the really beautiful ones, to me anyway, are rocky, with waves pounding against jagged sea stacks and driftwood. The coast always reminds me of watching The Goonies when I was a kid, even though that was filmed a bit south of here in Oregon. These sea stacks are beautiful from a distance, but they're just as interesting up close. On days with good low tides like we've been having recently, you can walk out among the rocks and see that they're teeming with life. And my first 2 inks for this release are a themed pair. The first one is called Tide Pool. The tide pools here have all sorts of interesting things, from crabs and sea urchins to sea cucumbers and even octopuses now and then. But you'll be certain to see these beautiful green anemones, often with pink ones, along with purple sea stars, which we still called starfish when I was growing up. My ink tries to capture that color combination, the purple and the green of the anemones, and it looks like this on Midori paper. Like most common chroma-shading inks, the colors that you get will vary depending on the paper that you use. So here's another example on Usari paper this time. And the colors are pretty similar, but sometimes the colors will be different. For example, here's a swatch on Usari next to one on some bank paper from Yamamoto. And on the bank paper, this ink is almost entirely green. When you write with the ink, though, the chroma shading will generally not show up, and you'll get more of a pale blue or a green color, again depending on the paper. And the second ink of this pair is named after the sea stars themselves. Many people don't realize it, but sea stars are incredibly important to the coastal ecosystem. The sea stars eat the barnacles and the mussels that would otherwise just completely cover these rocks, and they keep the habitat open for all of the other species to thrive. As I mentioned a moment ago, most of our sea stars are in the purple color range, but they're also sometimes orange or brown. And the common name of this species is the Ochre Sea Star. And with that name in mind, let me show you what my ink looks like. It goes down as a reddish purple, but as it dries, you'll start to get areas of brown or yellow shading, depending on the paper. On some papers, like the original Tomoe River paper here, the ink is much more purple. And when it comes to writing, the color that you get will again depend on the paper. Sometimes it'll be reddish purple, and sometimes more of a brown ochre, especially with the dip pen. And if you ever visit the coast, you'll also likely see some of this seaweed washed up on the shore. This is Bull Kelp, sometimes called bullwhip kelp because of its shape. And it grows in big underwater forests off the coast where it's a habitat for seals and otters and all sorts of other animals. There are different species of kelp all over the world, of course, but this one, Bull Kelp, ranges from California up to British Columbia. And this is what the ink looks like. A bright brownish green with some good variation and shading. This one ends up being pretty similar regardless of what paper you use it with. Back home in the Seattle area, or Tacoma, or Everett, or just about anywhere along the Puget Sound, we have the Olympic mountain range between us and the ocean to block the worst of the rain and stormy weather that blows in off the Pacific. It also means that on relatively clear evenings, we get to see the sunset over the Olympic Mountains, with all of those yellows and oranges and pinks that you'd expect from a good sunset. And so this fourth ink is called Olympic Sunset. And this is what it looks like on Midori paper. And here it is on some Canson Bristol paper. I try to only make inks that are dark enough to be legible when you write with them. An Olympic Sunset should be okay as long as you're not using a particularly dry pen. Finally, there's one new thing on my website that I'd like to mention, and I didn't make it, but one of our fellow ink lovers did. A year or so ago, I got an email from a follower of my channel, Eric, who makes soap under the name Dirty Jersey Soap Company, and he offered to send me a bar of hand soap that he was experimenting with for removing ink, and he wanted my feedback. And I was pretty impressed. I get a lot of ink on my hands, and this stuff works remarkably well compared to the normal liquid hand soap that I use. I haven't tested it against something like a harsh bar of lava soap or that sort of thing, but I do like to support small businesses, and this is an all-natural, small batch soap, and I thought that some of you might want to give it a try too. So Eric made us a box of it, and you can give it a try. And I'll be curious to hear what you all think about it and whether I should get more in the future. And now I'm going back to making videos about my travels and fountain pens and inks. But I have already formulated a new batch of inks that are in testing, and they will be coming out before too long. And I have another special edition pair of inks planned soon too. So if you have any interest in my inks at all, please take a moment to subscribe to the email list on my website. That is the best way to get notifications of new inks. It's even better than the product notification emails for specific inks. And before I go, I want to thank all of you who have been supporting my channel. Whether you're buying the inks or sharing them with your friends, or watching my videos and letting me know what you think. It's been a huge help. I feel like I've been making some progress with this channel, and I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you. And that's it. Enjoy your fountain pens and inks out there, everyone, and I'll see you back here soon with another new video.